Today we're reacting to Monique talking to TS Madison on Fox Soul. So far, they're just introducing when they met and how it wasn't such a good experience. It was just like technical difficulties. Monique is now talking about what happened with Netflix and they still have a lawsuit going on. So she's still in the midst of things and she was just really giving us numbers.
Couple of reacts, like and subscribe. About 500,000 reasons why I would be mad myself if I were Monique, given her resume and given the kind of praise that she was getting from Netflix as they were trying to bring the deal to her table, just to find out that it was grossly underneath what they were giving, say, like Amy Schumer, who doesn't have the kind of resume that Monique has. Yes, she's getting $13 million as her offering. I would be insulted too, as far as the pay disparity goes there. Unfortunately, Black people in America just have to constantly fight. They like to throw out, athlete numbers and whatnot. It's a specific class of person, athletes and entertainers. Most people are in, white collar, or even when you talk about entertainers now, really, just athletes. Really just athletes. I think athletes are the only ones who really get, like, max contract. And, that is what we call systemic racism. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And so in Netflix lawsuit with, Monique, I stand by her position. It's a strong position, but unfortunately, we're in a very commoditized society, and people can't say they're just going to stand on principles for just everybody. That's the big thing. Like, we're all just on the outside looking in, like, oh yeah, this is interesting. I mean, yeah, you stand with her, quote unquote, you stand with her, but we literally just switched off of Netflix to watch this joint. Netflix also employs, in some fashion, a lot of Black people who are willing to take whatever pay cut they may have to take advantage of that opportunity. And some people say, well, that's not an opportunity. I mean, well, it's that, or you can get out of entertainment and you can get into any number of other fields. I mean, that you'll have to deal with the exact same thing with, and, it's kind of rough. And again, that's what we call systemic racism. That's the issue. I mean, and I don't think it's going to be a bunch of organizations that are floating around currently that are going to be able to solve that issue. So I can't sit around being resentful towards people about it. So we're going to get back to it. We're at to the last bit. Oh, I will say TS Madison, very classy intro, acknowledging full circle moment. That was very classy.
This is our first time hearing about TS Madison or even seeing TS Madison. And I actually can't believe that she had a co-host, because she seems like she's been running this whole setup that she has for many years, holding it down by herself. But apparently 4 years ago, she must have had one.
Here's something I got to say about Monique in the story. I think a lot of why she didn't want to do the press run may have been tied. Well, let me not say I think. I say I'll speculate. I'll speculate that a potential reason why she didn't want to do all these press runs is because her character in Precious was pretty despicable. I mean, when you think about it, you gotta go around people and just oh yeah, you were such a monster. Yeah. You know what I mean? Think about it. Think about the context. The stuff that she was doing, because she was on TV with the Monique show, and she was doing comedy, wasn't really tied to that so much. It didn't have to be the whole subject of whatever those professional engagements were, versus if she going on these press runs, yeah, it's people from all over the world. Oh, is that Monique? I'm just putting on my foreign accent. I don't know what they sound like. But at these little festivals, somebody snooty, somebody super snooty, with like an ascot on, going like Monique, you're an absolute monster. You're an absolute monster in Precious. You were so vicious, girl. You were vicious. I don't think she wanted to deal with that potential.
Now here comes, she's difficult to work with. Her and her husband, they are difficult. They are these difficult people. So now nobody's going to touch Monique because Oprah Winfrey said nothing. Though there was a conversation that she had with my husband and she agreed with the position that was being taken. So when it hit that I was difficult, she stayed quiet and said nothing. When we find out that Tyler Perry has actually told another director named David Talbert how difficult I was to work with, and David Talbert told Tyler Perry, he said, Monique was a joy. Like, I didn't have any problem. Yeah, well, she was really difficult to work with when we worked with her. Well, Tyler Perry, you never worked with me. We never worked together. When we did Precious, you came on after we said, cut, that's a wrap and it's over. So now we sit in there.
She knows it's part of the business, Now you got Oprah involved and whatnot. You got big players involved. Why not make the runs, at this point in the game, right? When you're about to go get the big ones, right? But again, it's all about the context. Like, it's not like she got to get on like that off of an outstanding comedic performance, as a comedian. It was off of, a really villainous character. You had never seen stuff like that on TV before. There's some celebrity tape. I mean, you got to be a celebrity to hear it. But TS Madison heard the tape. Okay. We're at the end of the video. TS Madison heard the tape. In the tape, Tyler Perry apologizes for blackballing Monique. Now in person and on the street, quote unquote, celebrity street, where I don't know what's real and what's fake. I got to be honest with y'all. But right there, in 2022, Tyler Perry saying you got to meet up with him without your husband and apologize. Monique, I'd be hot too, and then I'd be ready to revisit this conversation with people, so I get why this is resurging again. Because it's not like anything's really changed on the lawsuit front. She couldn't get into the lawsuit. All she could say was that it's still ongoing. I mean, that's going to be a long-standing lawsuit.
I like that Monique is, standing up for herself, because she made a great point. Like, the greats did it before her, and there were movies, or, they got their flowers, they got those after they passed away. And Monique thinks that, she's going to get her recognition after as well. And she's like, no, I want my recognition now. I've deserved it. I've worked all these years. Like, give me what's mine. To your point earlier when you were talking about, like she's giving names and all that, she also gave receipts. And she was saying how, like how much money she was getting and how much money other people were getting. And she was also saying that, the Wanda Sykes lady, she was saying she got that same offer as Monique, but not, half as Monique. And I guess she went back and negotiated. I think that was Wanda Sykes' way of like, why didn't you negotiate kind of thing. Try to say that, like, if you wanted the money that you wanted, like, where was your team at? So maybe that is Monique's not fault, but downfall in this whole situation, because she should have had a better team to give her that kind of money that, she thought she was worth.
It always ends up being your team that you're on. It always ends up being your team. You can't do it on your own. You can't pick and choose how you're going to get it done on you. It just doesn't work that way. You got to get into the systems. Once you're in the systems, again, and a lot of the times the systems end up being having that certain manager who has these kind of connections. That certain person who does a certain money management. You got to have these kind of infrastructures around you if you want to get to the heights of success, is what I've seen. It's not that Michael Jordan, and we just going to put it into the entertainment realm. It's not that he's just this great athlete. He was a great athlete, but then he also had people around him that were able to scout out great deals for him and build off of that momentum that he had. So, like, while Monique was doing stuff like the Parkers, stuff that we know her for, like, hardcore old school fans. Like, when she was doing stuff like the Parkers, she should have been really expanding her empire at that point in the game, while she was really at the heat of her momentum, and doing stuff like what she's doing now, trying to do the whole calling out stuff. Like, oh yeah, this ain't right, blah, blah, blah. Because that was when she was at the heat of social relevance, when you think about it. Like, now, do people really say, oh yeah, I gotta go pop on a Monique comedy special? I'm not trying to come at her either, because I do like watching Monique. I'm a fan. But do people generally say, yeah, I gotta go pop on I gotta go watch the Parkers today?
Monique, with everything that's going on, I hope that she's able to keep being able to provide for her family, with her husband, because it seems like she's all about her family and what's best for her and her family. And that's the main reason why she was basically saying she did not want to do this whole song and dance thing that they wanted her to do. And what all this is boiling down to is that she chose her family over her career. And it seems like they didn't like her doing that.
Basically just don't like the taste of sour grapes at this point. You know what I mean? Because you went full into the industry knowing that these things are going to happen. Like, you couldn't have been unaware of that, because it was happening to you in real time as you were coming up. And she was well into her career by the time that Precious came out. Had been acting for a hot minute. Couple of reacts. We just react to what's going on. It's a social commentary channel. Like and subscribe. Wow.